Pray for the fruit of the womb. You might all know how important a child to the happiness of a family, a home, birth to kids, and raise babies are human nature and become the mission of most people. So no kid is one of the main reasons to break a couple. The story today I'm gonna tell you relates to no kid issue. Pray for the fruit of the womb. The door was slammed loudly. There must have been someone angrily closed the door. Isabella got used to that. That was her drunk husband. Every time arguing, the husband always slammed the main door and headed out the whole night, left her at home with the emptiness. The reason for the argument related to her mother-in-law. The couple had been married for years but still had no kid. Her mother-in-law always brought it up and rocked the boat, pressured the husband, paved the way for their intense arguments more frequently. Could you just one time ignore what your mother said? Having kids are natural. We have already moved heaven and earth for it. Why do you keep talking back to my mom? She just wants the good things for us. Isabella wasn't infertility, and James, her husband, was also normal. The two went to the hospital to check up dozens of times, which was a few years after their marriage. So, they got worried but always heard the familiar result from the doctor: you're too normal, and able to have kids. How many times we tried. We still have no kids? James is my only son. His dad died already. Don't let me die without seeing my grandson. Every time the mother brought the topic up, James always got his wife back in front of her. Mom, let's it as natural. We still love each other, and living very happy. Kids are just sooner or later. But days after days, James had changed. Every time he heard his mom's innuendos, he chose to stay quiet. There is only a hen in the house but unable to lay an egg. I don't know what I have done to be suffering like this. God, please bless us. Isabella was very depressed. She could feel that her husband had changed. He didn't stand up for her in front of his mom anymore. He didn't love her like the old days. Deep down, she was so disappointed and popped out lots of questions. Why everything turned to be like this? Does he still love me? That isn't my fault? The arguments became more and more intense and happened every day. No one put a step back or walked in the other's shoes. You don't love me anymore. What about you? Have you ever given empathy for my difficulties and pressures out there? Have you even finished your duty as a wife to give me a baby? What? How could you say that? The doctor said that I'm normal, I'm not infertility. The mother didn't like Isabella initially. She just kept quiet at their arguments. She was even excited to hear those. She felt that was kinda her son's loss, so she ridiculed Isabella. A hens have to lay eggs. How could you still stay in this house? Isabella got more and more depressed. She thought about divorce but came to think it carefully. She still loved her husband. Day by day, she was inconsolable. Why do you treat me like that? The whole thing you had talked to me before all lies? She felt that her husband was not by her side anymore. To women, that was the most heartbroken thing. That night, Isabella backed home from the office as usual, but she didn't want to head home right after then. She was scared of the heavy atmosphere in the house, so she walked slowly on the way home, step by step, and let her mind running wild. An old gray-hair lady holding a torn bag and stared at her, which made the hairs on the back of her neck stood up. When she tried to walk faster to pass by her, the lady called her, "Hey, young lady, such predestined. Let me consult you a fortune teller." Isabella wasn't interested in a fortune teller. She tended to leave as quick as she could. From graduation, Isabella didn't believe in that superstitious stuff. To her, a fortune teller was irrational and didn't worth believing. She replied politely to the old lady, "I don't need to, thank you very much." But the old lady kept following Isabella all the way and tried to convince her, "You gotta listen to me. This relates to your family happiness, young lady." Isabella kept quiet, looked like she agreed, so the old lady continued, I know, you have no child for years. You're waiting for a child. You could pray Guanyin for the fruit of the womb. Isabella heard the old lady could read her mind. She stopped walking. Nanny, does that really work? Pray her for the fruit of the womb? Yes, that's it. Honestly, Isabella was crazy about having a kid. If she were still unable to have a kid, her marriage would be broken. Even though she didn't believe what the old lady told her was 100% true, but deep down, she hoped the old lady could help. Nanny, to pray Guanyin for having a kid. What should I do now? And how much does it cost? Once the old lady heard Isabella's innocent words, she stopped her from saying any more words. She looked at Isabella seriously. Young lady, stop talking like that before the superior would upset at you. That is not the thing you could buy with money. You need a little of destiny and show your sincerity. Not everyone could have this opportunity. Isabella didn't know how to pray correctly, so how? How could I pray? Could you show me the way? The old lady replied, I know you're miserable. I understand your situation. Now come home. You have destined to see her. She would help you out. After finishing, the old lady handed Isabella a small statue, which was the Guanyin statue she had mentioned before, told Isabella to bring it home, and took Guanyin worship. Isabella took the statue with scare and confusion. She was shy, but she was full of hope. Isabella held the statue in her hands, and watching her carefully, she murmured, Guanyin, could you please bless me this time? No one obviously answered her question at that moment. She faced up and saw the old lady had walked away from her. She still could hear the old lady was leaving her last words, in your lifetime, you reap what you sow. Her voice was likely to be from Isabella's hands. She got a slight shiver. She scared to be there any longer, so she hurriedly backed home as if she was running away from something. Right at the moment, she reached home, the door opened, and she saw her mother-in-law with a dark face. Her eyes stared at Isabella. The light lighted half of her face. She looked scary as a ghost. Isabella turned on the lights. She realized that it was her mother-in-law. Mom, you are scaring me to death. What are you doing? Why are you standing here? The mother stepped away after glaring at Isabella without a word. Then she talked in an exaggerated tone of voice. How could you turn the light on when it's not dark yet? That is all my son's money, not your, so you don't give a damn care? Isabella got a bit offended. She mumbled, I could make money. She wasn't making more money than her husband. Still, she was hard-working every day. Her mother-in-law was excessive. Isabella took the Guanyin statue from her bag out and placed it on the top of a cabinet in the living room. Her mother-in-law seeing all of that, so she unable to stay still. What is that? Where did you get that? Do you bring those stuff to curse me or something? With a wry smile, Isabella replied, Mom, what are you talking about? This is Guanyin. I'm praying for a son. We need to show our sincerity. So that Guanyin could bless us a boy. Don't you love to have a grandson? The mother always believed in God and Guanyin, so she was embarrassed and prayed for Guanyin to forgive her. After then, the mother went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. James backed home. The whole family sat together to have dinner. The mother suddenly picked up food to Isabella's bowl. You gotta eat more protein. That made Isabella a bit astounded. After dinner, James curiously asked his wife, what happened between you and Mom? How weird she is today. Isabella knew James would ask after that. She replied, don't you happy when seeing me and your mother live in harmony? After a few chats, the two of them hit the sack. At midnight, Isabella heard a light voice around. Blood, I want to drink blood. Blood. Isabella awakened and came to find where the voice from. She went to the living room. There was only a dim lamp. She saw the Guanyin statue was glowing a demonical red light. The voice was from the statue. Blood, I want to drink blood. bring me blood quickly." Isabella went to the kitchen, took the knife, and as what the statue had told, she cut a small one on her wrist and dropped her blood to the statue. The dim light on the statue became brighter red. Just like that, night after night, Isabella cut her hand and dropped her blood to the statue secretly. A month later, Isabella felt something weird growing on her body. She came to see the doctor with her husband and got the good news. "Congratulations! Your wife is pregnant." "Really? Thank you, Doc." Hearing Isabella got pregnant, everyone was very happy. The happiest one was actually the mother. She had been waiting for that for too long. She started to take very good care of her daughter-in-law. She afraid Isabella would lack nutrition and affect her grandson. She prepared and cooked lots of good food for her daughter-in-law. "Dear, what do you want to eat? Just tell me, you got pregnant. You gotta take a good rest. You know, your son is growing inside your body." Isabella had lived a miserable life for years, but she was a queen at that moment. Of course, she was on the 9 clouds and enjoyed everything. When urging something to eat, she told the mother that the mother would also happily prepare her even at night. Isabella completely trusted in the Guanyin statue. She thought the Guanyin had blessed her a kid. She kept feeding the statue with her blood every night. Still, since her belly got bigger, she could not move easily. She thought about using her mother-in-law's blood. She called the mother and told her, "Mom, do you want to know why I got pregnant? Tell me, what happened?" The mother curiously asked Isabella. Isabella told the mother everything and the part she dropped her blood every night secretly to the statue. "This baby was gifted to us by Guanyin, but to be blessed, I used my blood in exchange." Isabella touched her belly while talking, which touched the mother. Hearing all of that, the mother was worried for Isabella and her grandson's well-being. Even she was terrified, but she gotta keep her grandson's life at any cost. Isabella continued, "Mom, it's nearly my give birth time. If I kept using my blood to feed the statue, I'm afraid it would not be good for my son." The mother replied instantly, "That's okay. I'm here, let me handle this." She went to the kitchen, cut a line to the wrist, and dropped her blood to the statue. She saw the statue lighted up and got convinced. She believed that would work. Since then, they were happy together. They kept the secret about the statue. The mother hoped her grandson would be delivered to the world, growing up, living a happy life. She could feel his tiny feet off her daughter-in-law belly. Her eyes were full of hope and joy. Isabella was afraid her husband would blame her if he knew what was happening, so she carefully told the mother not to tell anyone. Otherwise, Guanyin would take her blessings back. "Mom, you must keep this in secret, or else I'm afraid everything would not run well." "No worries. I'll not tell anyone for my grandson's safety." And then, every night, the mother had to feed the Guanyin by her blood. That particular afternoon, Isabella fell asleep after a meal, so she went to bed and passed out. She had a dream. She saw a baby whose bloody face was staring at her. Isabella awakened from the dream and screamed aloud. Hearing her scream, the mother came to her and asked out, "What happened?" Isabella screamed out with a frightened face, "No. This is not my son. No." After hearing those weird words, the mother thought that was because she had fed the statue less blood earlier, so she came hurriedly to the kitchen, grabbed the knife, and tended to cut her wrist. "Don't hurt the baby, don't blame it. I'll give you my blood." Right before the mother used the knife to cut her wrist, James reached home. Seeing his mother's weird behavior, he recognized something must have been wrong. "Mom, what are you doing?" James tried to stop her, but coincidentally, he dropped the Guanyin statue. Mom, what wrong with you?" The Guanyin statue dropped to the ground and scattered in pieces. All of a sudden, he heard a scream in the bedroom. "Isabella, are you okay?" James ran to the bedroom to check his wife while the mother kept crying her eyes out, "Don't take the baby away." His wife fell to the ground. She was bleeding, with lots of blood. Her belly was likely to be stabbed by something. She died. James came closer to see what was on her belly. The Guanyin statue was covered by blood, very scary. The mother came after him. Seeing that bloody scene, she got frightened crazily. "Oh no! My grandson." After then, people saw a crazy woman hold a Guanyin statue in her hands, roaming around the street. Following her is the poor son, who tried to stop her. She was running and screaming, "My grandson, my grandson." After a certain amount of time, the crazy woman and her son had moved out of the city. Then this story had spread from people to people around the town.